for years and years, I have strongly believed, and smidgens of research support, that online activities, including kids playing online games, support reading. And it supports reading in many different ways. And Tanya, you have some examples in your family with using Minecraft.
When I started doing research about, what was it, 6 years ago, and it all runs together, I was kind of mad the way people made fun of games and said that games cause violence and games are bad, and all these negative things related to games. And so I read a book called Reality is Broken. And it made sense to me that games move us through the day, like even just my life. If I used to have a running app that it had a little weird ninja guy, and he would move through this park, or this, I guess it wasn't a park, it was like this medieval land, and he would move through the land if I ran so many miles that day, and if I ran so many miles that week. And so, I mean, I ran more. I literally ran more because I wanted to gain that.
You wanted the little guy to move.
Yeah, I wanted him to move.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
And so, anytime, and even now, a lot of people in the news are saying that, video games are the cause of violence and things related into schools and bullying and that kind of stuff. And then I'm also watching Stranger Things, and the whole thing is around how these kids that play a game, Dungeons and Dragons, which wasn't, the shows back in the 80s, well, I was in the 80s, all of us kind of dabbled in Dungeons and Dragons, where they're saying this is a cult and the devil and all these. So I think games get a bad rap. And so when our kids started playing Minecraft, we kind of hid it, if that makes sense. We didn't tell many moms that we were allowing our kids to play Minecraft. But when I was teaching, 19 years ago, in a middle school, we did Sim City and Minecraft, and they built all these lands, and I didn't see where Minecraft was any different from that. And slowly, as the boys were intrigued by Minecraft, they loved it so much that they wanted to do more. So yes, I can get this pickaxe and I can knock this block out, or I can create a block. They wanted to create portals. Well, you can't just create a portal by clicking portal and then dragging it over to the thing. It's not that simple. The boys needed to go into like this mini coding interface. It's just a window that pops up, and they had to type. And it's not just like HTML coding or CSS or anything like that. It's more word related with minimal like quotes and minus and equal. You have to have those things in there, but they had to have literal words that made sense, and you couldn't misspell those words. And so at 5 and 6 years old, hence the reason I didn't tell many moms they were playing Minecraft, they were watching YouTube videos under our supervision, watching those YouTube videos, and then learning the words of how to create that portal, or how to create that, what was the thing? They always wanted to upgrade their house. So they wanted a refrigerator in their house, not the corny refrigerator that was there. And so they had to do these potions and create these tables, and they couldn't create the tables unless they went in. And then on that table, you create the potion. And it was all this process of, I want to get to this point where I have a refrigerator and a king size bed in my house. So I had to write this code a specific way. So they'd watch the YouTube videos, and those YouTube videos introduced words to them. And then as soon as they understood that these words were powerful, then they wanted to know more words, and not just words related to Minecraft, words related to what they were doing in school. And so they started to grab books and read those books more, and those books helped them to be able to be better creators in Minecraft. And it was just amazing how crazy they were. You guys know as well as I do, if you're around people, we're all teachers, as soon as that clicks, that they know how to, they're like, oh, I get it. These weird word things, letters coming together, the A, B, C, D, and the phonics that you've been teaching me, those words have connections to putting together, and this word means this and it represents that. I get that. And now this word, oh no, I could read this whole sentence. Oh, I could read this whole paragraph. I can read this whole book. Owen is big into Del Torah. it's an old series, Deltora Quest, and they have 4 series. And the other day he stumbled upon the cartoon, the animation of it, and he's already read the whole series. So he's read 9 books. And he turned to us and he was kind of laughing while he was watching the show. He goes, in the book, I thought her name was Pathobi. And I said, and I laughed because I was like, oh, her name's Phoebe, and so he's learning things through the book and then experiencing them through movies, which is also amazing. But he understands that words have these connections to sounds and things and representations. And then also we told him how awesome it is to read a book first and then watch the thing, because he's sitting there critiquing it, like a movie critique, where he's like, in the book they did this, and it just doesn't make sense without that part. And so he tells us what we missed from the book, and so I attribute the fact that he is going to be a 2nd grader. Both of them are going to be 2nd graders. They played Minecraft as young kids, like really young toddlers, and now they're reading at a 5th and a 6th grade reading level. Our teachers work hard at the school that they go to. We try to contribute as well. So I think it's a combination of allowing them to explore games in a way that is not just mindlessly playing a game, but also exploring some different levels of those games, and those games incentivize them to move on and move on. I don't just want a pickaxe, I want a diamond pickaxe. And if they get enough diamonds, then they can go and create a potion on the table, and now they have a diamond pickaxe, and now they can build a diamond castle, or whatever it is. That's pretty close to what I'm not a huge fan of Minecraft, me playing it, because it discourages me, but the way that they manipulate it, it's amazing, that the things that they can build based on the fact that they can read and type words and that kind of stuff. So that's why I'm excited about games in general, not just sitting there and mindlessly playing a game for no reason, but even those games help in calming kids. It calms me sometimes when I play some of my little silly games. It has no point to it, but it helps in some social emotional thing or something of that sort. So I'm pro games and pro understanding what your kids are doing while they're in their games. You got to know it too. I mean, you don't have to engross yourself so much that you're a master of it just like they are, but you at least have to have conversations about what they're doing and a knowledge of what they're getting into. So, but that's my perspective.
So Tanya, you brought up several important points here, and I'm going to try and summarize some of the key ones. And yeah, one of them kind of in the order you presented, I think. First off is, games can be very motivating. And you gave the example of, you running, exercising more, so that your game app would reward you by having the guy run through the forest, or whatever that particular app was going to do. Sometimes it's really, really simple, just like how many steps you went today, or you're below your average. Sometimes it's more gamified, where you have a creature or something that does cool things as you reach different goals, where you're doing something that's physically good for you, on the physical end of things. Reading development, you went into quite a lot of detail about Minecraft, how are the different ways that can develop reading. And I think you could say the same for many, many other games. The caution I would give for parents and teachers is, when you're encouraging and supporting your kids playing the games, 2 things. First off, do make sure that it's, they're doing socially appropriate things. You don't want to have them playing games that introduce bias and hate and I will throw a personal opinion, gun violence and so forth. It doesn't mean that there can't be some, difficult scenarios that are overcome, but what's the focus? What is it? And are we helping the children? Is the game helping the children reach some goal using methods that are going to be appropriate in real life? And anytime there's words That is another key point. So if you're going to be looking at games to help develop reading, and I absolutely believe, almost any online activity, but there's some that don't. And I play them myself sometimes, the Candy Crush kind of things. There's no words involved. And it can be fun, it can be relaxing, but for all activities, you want to look at how much time is being spent. And if somebody's spending 2 or 3 or 4 hours a day, doing Candy Crush, where all they're doing is developing a score and that's it, well, that's when you might want to do some redirecting and find some other types of games that are, yes, they're going to be fun and enjoyable and working towards a goal, but it's also going to be developing lifelong skills. I've heard some people say, well, they're developing logic patterns by doing the Candy Crush and seeing, how to identify different things. Yeah, I don't think you need to do that 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 hours a day. So look at the games that they are playing with an eye towards how are they going to be developing the child or the youth or the young adult or the adult, how they're going to be developing you in the future. We may talk about this more in another episode, but Common Sense Media has some games that they recommend that they say, these are good games, they're fun, you can pick them at a developmentally appropriate level, and help get your kids closer to where they want to be. And the phrase that I've used for many years and will continue to use is like, turn playtime into learning time. It can still be playtime, but it's playtime where maybe without them even knowing it, like in your Minecraft examples, maybe without even knowing it, they're going to be learning.
Mhm.
And finally, you talked about the emotional aspect, which can include, calming and relaxation and so forth. And that can be, absolutely, that can be a real value of games too. But again, just take a look. You said something so important, I think, Tanya, the parent or teacher, you have to play it a little bit yourself. You have to see a little bit about what the underlying motivations and reasons for the game is. And I'm going to give a specific example that I am concerned about, and that's games with in-app purchases. And there's a game that I like very, very much, but you can tell that the main motivation of the creators of this game is to get you to buy things. It's almost impossible to move to the next level at various stages. And this is one of those games that has over 500 levels to it. I'm almost at level 200 myself, so I'll bet. But to move to the next level, you almost have to buy something. And that's what they want you to do, is buy it. I'll take a different game, Words with Friends. There are in-app purchases available in that as well, but you can succeed forever without buying things. Yes, you can buy power-ups and do a little bit better than your opponent by having the high-scoring word revealed and things like that, but they're not critical to advancing in the game. So one of the aspects is, how commercialized is the game that you're looking at? And is it going to require the child or you to make in-app purchases in order to advance? And if it does, I mean, if they are required, whether it's explicitly required or in practicality it's required, you may want to look for another game, because these things can get expensive. So
Yeah.
that's some things to think about when you're looking for games that will help promote learning while having fun, while developing yourself physically, while developing social emotional skills that will be good for a lifetime.